January 1st, figure out a way to do some of these things. But once again, that's the nature of county government. You gotta have two. And quite frankly, what's going on out in Harrisburg, the dysfunction that goes on out there, you gotta talk 200 people when you're getting anything done. And they're not getting anything done. Zero. So being a commissioner, you got a better chance of getting things done. You only got to talk one guy into getting something, a good idea across the board. So I think that's the way I can answer that question. Thank you.
So this is pretty similar to my last question. Mercer County has not had an increase in its taxes in 10 years. Given inflation and increases in salaries, benefits, and everything else, where has the money come from to balance the budget? So I'm not quite as involved with the past practices within the government and how they balance that budget. It's something that maybe Tim could allude to in his closings, but I think that some ways that can be done is, again, growing your population, getting more people to work. If we can get some housing development started with some affordable homes to, make a place for people to have start and plant their roots here, that's going to be more tax income. Another way, could be through funding from the state and federal partners. I know throughout the last several years, the times that we had with federal were very difficult, but there was a lot of, money coming from the larger government bodies down to the county level to help offset some of their costs. So those may be some ways that was able to be accomplished. And there's usually a capital reserve that, from time to time, if you have to, you can dip into that. I definitely caution from doing that. That's no different than when you're managing your own house or as a small business owner managing that. If you dip too far into your capital reserve and then, something comes up where you need that money, you're going to be in a tight spot not be able to make ends meet. So I think there's a lot of ways moving forward that we can look at to try to keep those taxes low, and I would encourage a team aspect of all three commissioners to put their heads together to be creative to find the best way to do that. Thank you.
Okay, the question is, transparency and accountability are essential in government. How will you ensure that county government operations are transparent? So I am so happy to get this question. I have a lot to say about this. You better time me for sure, John, on this one. So I think that transparency needs increase in county government, like on day one. Our meetings need to be put online so people can watch them. We need to discuss more things in the commissioner meetings. And I know that Tim is in a difficult spot as a minority commissioner right now, but I think that a lot more things need to be discussed in public realm, not at staff meetings that they have prior to those. So I'm not holding you accountable for this, Tim. But I do think we need to have more transparency. We need a better website that has easy to access information for our residents. We need to make sure that the commissioners are available, they are attending public events, people know who they are, so that they can go up to them and say, hey, Commissioner Jones, I don't think that you're doing this right. We need to be making more of an effort on this. They need to know where they can get their problem solved. That's one of the things that when I worked for other elected officials, my job was to solve problems, and I like to think that that's really one of the things that county government is at the level where they can do that. We are mandated by a lot of the things that the state and federal governments want are passed down to county government, and previous commissioners have referred to county government as middle management. Well, even if we are middle management, I think that we need to do a much better job of making sure people in Mercer County know how their money is being spent and how decisions are being made. And that starts with making the meetings more open, taking our commissioner meetings out on the road. Even if no one shows up to an evening meeting that you may have in Sandy Lake, at least we made the effort to make sure that people in that part of the county could attend the meeting. county commission meetings now are at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on a Thursday. A lot of people are unavailable to attend at that time. So putting them online will make it easier for people to know what's going on. Because the county commissioners are spending your money, it's our job to make sure that you know what we're doing with it and how those decisions are being made. So I look forward to increasing transparency. I think there are a lot of things, we have a lot of improvement that can be made there. Thank you.
Like Bill, I got a similar question to what I had before. The question is, what are you, in your role as commissioner, going to do to help retain young people to Mercer County? So a lot of what I've just said, I truly believe that our young people need to realize how important they are in our community. And we need to start that through, when they're very young, through education and community outreach and programs to get people involved. This morning I attended a community that cares meeting, and you talk about a group of passionate people that are concerned about children and all the ideas that are going around that room. I said to them afterwards, I said, one of my ideas as county commissioner is I don't think we have enough roundtables, and getting back to transparency, I don't think we bring people into the courthouse and sit down and listen to them enough, educate us on what's going on in the community. Because what's happening in Pine Township is not the same thing that's happening in Farrell. So we need, if we're going to have our young people stay here, we need to start getting them involved at a very early age. And we need, as commissioners, to be very good listeners. You know, one of the things I discovered when I first started attending meetings, and I tried to attend every municipal meeting and city meeting in the county, and I'm about 9 short of doing that. This is a huge county. But one thing that I heard over and over and over again was, we feel the county is disconnected from our local municipalities. We don't see these guys enough. We wish we could tell them X, Y, Z. And like Anna mentioned, Thursday afternoon at 3 o'clock for a commissioner meeting is hard for working class people to get there if they have a concern about something. So one of my ideas from day one was, let's have once a month have an evening meeting towards the end of the day. And also on a quarterly basis, we can take our show on the road. And there's a lot of communities that are open to have the commissioners come out. I spoke about that at a Federation of Clubs meeting, and afterwards someone came up to me that was in county government and said, we've tried that before, no one showed up, they don't come. And my response was, just because we tried something once doesn't mean we don't do it again. And by the way, how many people are showing up at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Thursday for the commissioners meeting? So we don't stop trying things just because it didn't work once. So to keep our young people here, I think you have to involve all those things. Thanks.
Why is the Mercer County Commissioner's election important to residents of this county? Well, all government is local. Most important things happen right here in Mercer County. And things that affect us the most are things that go on right here in your own county. And in our municipalities, our townships, our boroughs, our cities. Some people pass that up. They think, they watch television and they think, like today, we got a new Speaker of the House. That's got a lot of glitz, and that's got a lot of nice things we like to see, but how does it really affect us? You know, ordinances, road closures, things that are going on here locally in our community, those are the things that count. Our schools. I was on the school board. Once again, the only time anybody ever showed up was when we were hiring a coach. We could hire 15 teachers and nobody would show up. So it takes the community to get involved, no doubt about it. Jim's correct. We did, prior to this administration, we did take county commissioners' meetings to the municipalities, and nobody showed up. They said that that's, and after COVID, there's a lot that goes with that. We got to take a lot of things with us. We had to post our meeting on the front door of the commissioner's office. I suppose we could do it again if there was a demand for it and people wanted to do that. But it really lies in the community. People have got to get more involved with their local politics. And it starts with our kids, learning about civics. Civics is a lost art here in this generation. They're all stuck in their phones. They're all checking out Snapchat. They're all going to their, Instagram and all that. I know I have 3 daughters. It's a real struggle. Life's a struggle with this. So if we could just get, because it's fun. I wish when I was younger, when I was in college, I wish I had known more about it. I wish I would have taken an interest. But it wasn't in our family. My father was building a business, and my mother was raising 4 kids, so we didn't have politics in our house either. So, but you can see the people that are in politics, they stay in it for a long time because they like it and it's interesting. So hopefully we can bring some of that into our younger people and they can get interested. I was lucky enough to go to Ian Coleman's class and talk a little bit about being a commissioner. And they seemed real receptive. They seemed like they were interested in what I had to say. So I like the idea of being more transparent, getting out there, but it's going to have to build over a period of time because we got to get our kids' faces out of their phones. We got to get them to come to a meeting and see what we're talking about. We're talking about very important issues here locally in the community that affect all of us. So local government, that's where it is. So heed the word. Thank you.
At a recent debate, Commissioner McGonigal is quoted as saying, "You wouldn't believe what the commissioners put our departments through when they asked to buy a chair." What is your position on the level of involvement of the commissioners as to department budgets? So, I think this is an interesting question, and we've heard a lot about this from some of the county employees, the department heads, and different things. I think that it's very important for the commissioner board to be fiscally responsible and make sure that we're managing every dollar to the best we can. But we do that through the budget process, and I think it's important that we have good department heads and that the citizens elect good row officers. And there has to be a certain amount of trust from the commissioner board to those department heads and the row offices to be able to manage their budgets and their people and their employees that work underneath them. Obviously, something as simple as buying, chairs. I had something, one of the department heads mentioned, buying a certain type of folder was a difficult process. And I think when we spend so much time, micromanaging an aspect of government that we're literally tripping over dollars trying to pick up pennies. We're wasting time, of people that work for us. We're wasting time with the other elected officials. And I think that, we could be a little more efficient if we put a little more trust within the people that we have in those positions working for us. Thank you.
Okay, so after this question, there's only 4 more in the bowl, in case you're wondering. 4 more in the bowl. So my question is, what is your favorite hobby or pastime activity? Well, my favorite thing to do is to come home from work and put my pajamas on. However, once I do, my favorite hobby is, I have 2 things I like to do. I like politics and I like to bake. So, but I love politics. I love all of the things about politics. I like to make sure we have people who are educated about politics and how our government works regarding the civics, the need for more civics. People need to know who they're electing and why they're electing and what their qualifications are. I often talk to my students about how there really aren't a lot of qualifications to run for office. unless you get to be a certain age to run for president and things like that. But as far as people who are doing the township official duties, or even any of us, we have very different backgrounds, and there are no requirements that says you must know this. So when you go to vote, it's your job to kind of vet the people that you're voting for, to find out what local organizations they volunteer with, what do they spend their time doing. Everyone up here volunteers a lot of their time. I volunteer my time with Kiwanis and with the local chambers of commerce, the Cheyenne Valley Good Samaritans, things like that. So I like to volunteer and be involved in politics. But politics isn't the only part of this situation. Politics gets you the job, but what happens after you're elected is you have to be able to govern. Who can actually do the job once they get there? So that's one of the things that I like to talk to people about in terms of politics. Who can be elected? When it's primary season, we talk about who can actually be elected in the fall. And then in the fall, we talk about who can actually do the job. Who's going to be accountable? Who can we trust? Who's going to be a good listener? Who is going to, really put the people of Mercer County first, and maybe put their own hobbies on the back burner because they have to worry about all of these 100,000 people who live here in Mercer County. So I do love politics, everything from getting signatures to election night, which in our house is like Christmas Eve. We love election night in our house, so thank you.
The question is, quality of life is an issue in Mercer County. Our resources include lakes, streams, rivers, land, and a variety of beautiful vistas. How do you feel as Commissioner Office can help lead sustainable efforts to ensure generations of Mercer County residents can enjoy our resources? So this actually gets back to a little bit of what I was saying earlier, that not only do we have a low cost of living here, and that we want to keep it low by being fiscally responsible and keeping our taxes low, we have a great opportunity in Mercer County. When you travel our county, we have so much diversity. We have parks, we have lakes where sportsmen can go. We have historical areas that we could capitalize on and build. You look at some of the things that the local cities are doing. The city of Sharon, they're really working hard with their downtown to create not only and promote a college there, but to also build on historical values. You have people like Jim Landino, a businessman down there, that is counting on us to keep taxes low so he can continue to do his entrepreneurship and take buildings and convert and bring businesses in. So we have those opportunities. We also have opportunities with our parks, park like Riverside here, with a group that has worked really hard to bring that back to life. Mary Reeves and some of the others have done just some phenomenal work securing grants. So we need to continue to work on those things, because look at the events that we've been able to have at Riverside and the movie. We have an opportunity to, I talked to Tony Reeves during Meet Me on Main Street, and he was so excited to be able to work here in Mercer County producing movies. He said, Jim, this is something I want to come back and do again, because when we travel, this is such an open community, we can do a lot here. So we have so much that we can build on, so many opportunities. It just takes your leaders to want to care enough and want to work hard enough and bring people together to accomplish these things. And I can tell you, on day one, I will be in that office working from morning to night to accomplish these things with whoever I'm fortunate enough to be put in office with. And so I think we have opportunity, we just need to build on it.
these 2 new commissioners beginning January 2nd, what is the first thing you would propose to change the way the commissioners do their work? Well, wait a second. What would I change? Not a lot, to be honest with you. When we first came in 2015, for some of the young people here that aren't familiar, in Pennsylvania, we have 67 counties. And I convene with all those commissioners in Harrisburg at least once a year, and I get to see how they do things in their county. And I know how things were done in this county for a long time. And what was done was, you had 3 commissioners, 2 from the one party and a minority commissioner, and they had 3 offices. And they all had their own administrative assistant. And they tried to get along, but soon there would be a reason they wouldn't, and then those 3 offices became 3 separate offices, where they didn't talk to each other, they saw each other in a meeting, the guy I replaced didn't even go to the work sessions. So it is so imperative to keep that relationship through tough times together so you can work on behalf of the county, because if you don't all work together, nothing works. And that's the most important thing. So what did we do? I came in and I said to Matt and Scott, I said, hey, there's 3 people in this office, I've been here 2 days, that phone doesn't ring. I said, I don't think we need 3 separate administrative assistants. I would be open to having 2, so we have one person that's here in case someone's sick, but we have coverage in this courthouse, and they can have access to my emails, my schedule. I want them to have full access to everything, and I think they should have full access to yours. And that way, when people call here, when I meet with 3 commissioners, these 2 can look into all 3 of our schedules and find a way to put it together, and that's what we've done for the past 8 years. And it works magically. We have our meetings every week when we sit down and we have an agenda, and we go through and see exactly what we need to get accomplished. And that's why these folks are saying, when they come to our meetings, it seems so bland and there's no discussion, because we've already screamed our heads off in the back offices. And what's on that agenda is a result of our hard work in that area. Now, I would be open to saying, okay, let's go back to the way they did it prior to my administration. They had a work session, which is open to the public. I don't know if that how well that would work with Commissioner McConnell, because he's a tough bird and he gets excited at some of these meetings. But I can tell you that in our meetings, we're efficient. We get a lot done. Our HR department, our fiscal office, when we sit down, we address things, we get them ironed out, and we determine what's going to be best for Mercer County. And when we do that, we get great results. And the proof is in the books. So thank you.
What would you propose to make the work of the commissioners more transparent? So there's been some discussion about that this evening. Not to, sound like a broken record, I think there's been a lot of good ideas that we can look at, and I'm very much in favor of some of those things that we've heard. I like the idea of getting our meetings online, so people that, have work restrictions that won't allow them to make a public meeting, that they can watch that at a later point or possibly even live. I like the idea of, making an attempt to bring that back out to the public setting. I do have concerns about the attendance. I can remember serving on borough council, nobody ever attended the meetings until, there was something that either the council maybe had gotten wrong or there was some sort of a big issue that everybody comes out of the woodwork. So it's interesting when there's, something pressing, the folks do find the time to make it to your meeting, but otherwise the public meetings lots of times go very unattended. So I think that's something that we need to try to find a way to encourage to get the community more involved, because it is the people's government, and your opinion and your voice matters. Tim brings up a good point about the work session. I think that's where a lot of the meat and potatoes of government and governing happens. And if we can have those open to the public, that where somebody wants to come and interject their opinion or idea, that might help the new board bring up a fresh idea that maybe the 3 of them didn't have themselves. So I think that when it comes to being transparent, it's the most important thing government can do, and we should leave no stone unturned and try whatever it is necessary to get the community and the public involved, because it is their government and it's their money we're managing. Thank you.
This is it, Roberta, last one. Okay, the question is, given the recent incident at a girls' volleyball match at Jamestown High School and the video posted by a Lakeview High School student and Farrell's subsequent inquiries about leaving District 10 athletics, is there something you can do in your role as commissioner to ensure that all county residents feel represented by their county government? Well, I think that, one of the things that we can do as county commissioners is to make sure that everybody has a voice in county government, and everyone feels like they have a seat at the table, and that they're able to, present their ideas, present their concerns, and present their solutions to problems that we're having. This is an unfortunate situation, and I think it's terrible when anybody feels like they're being marginalized or left out of a conversation or being, persecuted for some, for any of their beliefs or their, the way that they're living their lives. County government is not our job to judge people. Our job is to make sure people have the services that they need and to make sure that everyone feels like they're worthy and that they're an important part of our county. I would hope that we can, that this situation will be resolved. We won't have anything like that happen again. But as county commissioners, I think it is our job to make sure that everyone has the resources that they need to find solutions to things and to, encourage cooperation and collaboration so this type of thing doesn't happen. Thank you.
Before we move on to the closing statements, can I have a round of applause for each one? I also want to share how the questions came to be. We asked each candidate if they wanted to submit a limited number of questions. We did not call those out for duplicates. We left them as they were. The majority of the rest of the questions came from Teal College students. So I'm really proud of the Teal College students, and I'd like to applaud them for their questions. And finally, I'd be remiss if I didn't thank Pulse for being here today to live broadcast. The Pedas Fellows are taping this for us, and we will put that up on YouTube, and it will be available for you all to share if you would like, and for you all in the audience to share as well. And I also want to thank the record artists for coming here tonight to cover tonight's event. Now it's time for closing statements. This is